What were you doing and how were you occupying your time in 2009?
How was I occupying my time in 2009? I was preparing probably this week for another rivalry game versus Sir Clemens, which is a school that we split from. So that's an interesting question. You know something I don't know? That's a scary question. Did somebody call you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Session. But I ask because so much has changed with both schools, and despite having been close, this rivalry game just has not gone PG's way. What would a win mean to everyone here?
Well, it would mean a ton. I mean, this game means a lot to our alumni. It means a lot to our players. It means a lot to our student body. And again, fairly new to it, but it hasn't taken long for me to grasp the importance of it. It's an important game. It is a big game, and it is a personal game. So I'm excited about the opportunity not just to get back in MAC play. I'm excited to have him early. You know, hopefully the weather holds off. We can pack that place, and we have an environment similar to what it was the last time we went down there.
Despite all the struggles the last couple of years, you've played these guys so tough. Why have you guys been able to get up for this game, do you think?
Well, you know, you guys heard it said before that rivalry games sometimes you can throw the records out. I don't know why that is. I don't know that I necessarily believe that. I think it goes back to a matchup standpoint. I think from a schematic standpoint, there are things that we're pretty similar in the things we do, so it's kind of like we practice against each other all spring long. So we have a little bit of an idea of maybe how to attack one another, and that makes for an entertaining ball game at times.
Can it be, can it be a season-defining game?
It can. It can. It can definitely turn the tide for us this season. You know, the thing that you have to be, careful of is not putting too much on one game, because there's still a lot of football left to be played. So, you know, it's week 2 of our MAC League season. There's a buzz there. There's excitement there. You know, I think they've come off some couple tough games this year. You know, I think we're both banged up a little bit. So again, to answer your question, yes, it's a game that can change the season, but you've got to be really careful about not putting it all on this one game, because there's a lot of football left to be played.
Along those same lines, does this kind of feel like the last chance, just from an outside perspective, to get fans back believing in this season?
No, there's a ton of football left to be played, and our goals are still out in front of us. You know, and what we've got to do is we've got to continue to focus on us. It's not, you know, it's kind of what I talked to kids about a little bit yesterday. You know, I'm really ticked at myself a little bit because we buy into what people say or what people think. I don't want to talk anymore about the schedule. You know what I mean? I don't want to talk about how it's front load. I don't want to talk about any of it, because what you're doing is you're putting doubt into your mind. Because we played in those games, even the other day. You know, okay, we're playing Georgia Tech. They've got an explosive offense. We still are trying to look at how to stop them. You know, we ain't stopped them yet. But you know what? If your mind's right and we go out and we score on the first possession, we score on the second possession, we get a snap through our hands. And at that time, everybody's mind goes, well, hell, why are we here? You know, and we've got to get that out. That's got to go away, because the approach and the mindset has got to be attack, and believe. So that's my message to our players and to our coaches yesterday. Don't forget what anybody is thinking, forget what anybody's saying, you know, and start having some fun again. You know what I mean? We play this game, we coach this game because it's a kid's game and we love it. You know, and you don't allow anyone to take that away from you. So that'll be our approach the rest of the season, and that'll be our approach for this ball game.
And outside of this building and this school, it feels like a lot of people have supported you and really wanting to succeed or beginning to jump ship. How do you keep that? How much do you feel that negative energy, and how do you keep it from permeating?
I think I just addressed that. You know, and really, you got to worry about the things that you can control. You know, and really, I've got my life in pretty good perspective. You know, and again, this is my profession, and I love doing it. I approach this the same way that I approached the junior high game that I coached 22 years ago. I approach it the same way that I called when I was offensive coordinator in high school. I approached it the same way when I was at Texas Tech. It doesn't change. and it will not change. It's about, you know, giving everything you have to this profession, and it's about getting the most you possibly can out of these student athletes. You know, this book has a bunch of chapters left to be written. You know, and when the book is written, it's dead and closed, then you can go write and you can go post what you want to post. I mean, there are a lot of guys that have been sitting in the same situation I have, and they've got it turned. And when you don't get it turned, or when you lose your team, or any of those things, when you let people start to get in your head, or outside entities start to get in your head, all right? So this is not an impossible thing to get done. By any means. It's been done before. You know, we're doing things the right way. We're getting quality student athletes in here, and we will have success. And it's on me to make sure that our students understand that. So that's going to be my answer to any of those things moving forward, period.
Sorry.
Specifically about Toledo.
Yes.
Obviously, Guadani went down the other day. We don't know if he's going to play yet or not. How do you approach it when you don't know who the quarterback will be?
We're going to approach it as if he's going to play. Now, Will went in and threw 2 touchdowns the other night, and you know, while he may not be as mobile as 6, he's still more than capable of leading that offense. They got a ton of talent, man. They got a ton of talent. They probably, from a skill set standpoint, probably have the most explosive group of receivers, not even in our conference, but probably they're right up there with anybody in the nation. So that will be a challenge, but we must prepare for the quarterback run game. You know, because I just, you know, that's kind of who they've been. And I think whether 6 is in the game, 12 is in the game, I don't think it's going to make a difference. They're probably going to continue to attack us the same way. Because, again, those are areas that we struggled in. You know, the Miami game, I really thought from a schematic standpoint that defensively they looked like they started to grasp some of the concepts that we're trying to get taught. You know, they played great on 3rd down and were able to get the offense the ball enough to where we could have made it a game or even given us a chance to win the game. Want to see them grow from that standpoint. You know, not overlooking the Georgia Tech game, but, you know, when you're installing a new defense, you come in, you got to put a new scheme in to stop the triple option, and you get there, and what it came down to, Georgia Tech executed it well. We knew that we had to load the box. We knew we had to have all the safeties up in there, and just you know, hey, they can't complete 90% of these deep balls. Well, he completed 5 or 6. He completed over 90%. And when that happens, it becomes an issue, and you've got to back guys up into the middle of the field. And then on a couple of plays there, when you've got one of your best players and one of your best athletes trying to on the pitch, and he can't catch him, you're going to have an issue in a ball game. And so that is that. I look forward to them playing well. They'll rise up and they'll play well Saturday.
Since the Oregon game, you guys haven't gotten the run game going the way that you had hoped. As it stands now, are you guys
Nick,
putting too much?
you really got to bring that up right there.
Yes, but are you putting too much pressure on the passing game, getting them in too many 3rd and longs, that type of thing?
We were really good on 3rd down last week, and we kind of used the quick passing game as our running game, and we're fairly efficient with it. You know, those are things that we may have to do. You know, I hope that they want to come down and want to stop that. I mean, Georgia Tech chose not to. Miami chose not to. The couple of times they did come down and press, Scotty ran right by them. So it's my hope that we can get some opportunities. I saw a stat, and I don't know, Jason might have sent it to me. I think we're number 2 in the country with over 10 play scoring drives. You know, and that's you can look at it 2 ways. You can look at it and say, okay, we can be methodical. You know, we're not making a ton of mistakes. We can move the ball. Or you can look at it, we're not making enough explosive plays. And that's going to be the key to this ball game. We're going to have to find some explosives because they will. I mean, they've proven that they will, and we're going to have to match them.
Toledo has given up some points. Are there things that you've seen that you guys can exploit?
They played some really good teams. They played some really good teams that with some guys that can really run. So have we. You know, it's going to be a ball game to where there will be several situations where guys are one-on-one on both sides, offense and defensively. And people got to step up, and people are going to make plays. So what I can tell you from an offense and defense standpoint, and I know they're going to do the same thing, we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive, and we're going to throw the kitchen sink at them. And I got a funny feeling they're going to do the same thing. Might be a lot of fun.
What's it take to get that run game going? I mean, I guess as you look at it, what are the issues with the offensive line?
Well, you got to block them. You know, it starts kind of right there. You got to block them, and we got to do a better job of blocking them.
Do you take anything away defensively from last week's game, or you just kind of?
No, I don't, no. Well, here's what you got to do, guys. Here's how I approach it. Here's what I mean. Calling those defensive guys about. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is what it's embarrassing. I mean, we didn't stop them, not once. You know, you go and you look at it from a fundamental standpoint. All right, defensive end. All right, how does this work into our schematic, into our scheme? Okay, and we go and you take those cut-ups and you show those cut-ups. You know, when it's his base defense, how it fits into what we do on a daily basis. All right, and other than that, you burn it. You burn it, and then you bury it, and you move on. Now, what we'll do is we'll come back in the spring, and you come back, and you got to learn from it now. You can't just throw it away. We'll come back in the spring, and you try to make your notes. And you kind of, from a schematic standpoint, you know, what could we have done different here and there? And you really dive into it. Right now is not the time. Right now, what can we learn from it immediately from a fundamental standpoint as far as these kids' technique? Burn it, bury it, get after Toledo.
How heartbreaking have some of these losses been, and what's that feeling like in the locker room when you walk off the field, specifically losing against Toledo?
Losing sucks, all right, and it's not fun, and it takes the fun out of this game. You know, and coming to these games versus Toledo, those guys have given us everything that we've had, and you know, really want to see again starting to really it's become. It's a big game, and I want to say personal because it is a game, but we've got a very prideful group, and this game means a lot to us.